If you're familiar with the Detroit Zoological Society, you may have heard us using an unusual word when discussing our commitment to animal welfare: CZAAWE. Well, CZAAWE is actually an acronym, and to learn more about it, we interviewed Dr. Grace Fuller, the DZS's Director of Animal Welfare.
CZAAWE is the Center for Zoo and Aquarium Animal Welfare and Ethics, and it is a special center that we have here at the Detroit Zoo. CZAAWE started back in 2009, and our mission is to advance captive exotic animal welfare science and policy. So we are involved in a lot of different initiatives throughout the zoo, and we really have 5 main goals. The first one, and which is the biggest one that we spend probably the most of our time working on, is to ensure that the animals here at the zoo have great welfare through monitoring and research efforts. So we work really closely with animal care staff to do behavioral observations on animals, to support them for making decisions about how best to care for animals, and do things that ensure that they have great lives here and that they thrive. We also have other activities that we engage in. So one of our goals is to disseminate this knowledge that we generate with the community, and we do that in different ways. We publish scientific papers, we host workshops that are for animal keepers where they learn about best practices and animal welfare. We also host symposia where we bring in zoo leaders from throughout the world, and we talk about the ethics of keeping animals in captivity and how to advance animal welfare globally. And we also create a resource center that's freely available on our website to share information about animal welfare with the community as well. Animal welfare, I'll start by saying, is not the easiest thing to define, and there are a lot of really complicated definitions of it, and then sometimes really simple definitions that just essentially call it, the quality of life that an animal has, how well they're doing. We ascribe to the definition of animal welfare through our accrediting body, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which says that animal welfare is the combination of an animal's physical, mental, and physiological states measured over a period of time, and that it's on a continuum from good to poor. And what this means is that animal welfare encompasses many different facets of an animal's life. So it encompasses their behavior and their emotions and their physical responses to what's going on around them in the environment. And it's really a holistic concept where all of those things are added together to capture a moment in time how that animal is doing. It means that it underlies really everything that we do here at the zoo. So all of our activities have to trace back to animal welfare somehow or promote it. So we think about animal welfare in everything that we do. We think about it when we have events where the public comes in. We might do some additional monitoring behind the scenes to make sure that the sound or the off-hours activities aren't impacting the animals in a negative way. It means that we think about that with the plants that we plant on grounds, and we try to grow things that might be good browse for animals or things for them to eat. We think about it with how we have the guest experience here at the zoo, and we want to make sure that people see animals that are thriving because that helps advance our other mission pillars of conservation and humane education. And so I think what it means is that it's got to be the starting point for all of our activities. So CZAAWE helps support the animal welfare pillar in a lot of different ways. We really take on the bulk of the monitoring and the gathering of evidence to make sure that everything that goes on in the zoo contributes to great animal welfare. One of the things that we're involved in is every year, or more than every year in some cases, every animal or group of animals at the zoo gets a formal welfare assessment conducted with the cooperation of CZAAWE and the animal care staff to make sure that we're doing the best that we can by them. And then we support the overall mission in helping animal care achieve their goals, in collecting evidence, again, for how they're doing things and if it's working well, and giving them support for their positive reinforcement training, which is really important for animal welfare, and also providing behavioral opportunities in the form of enrichment. But we've had so many interesting projects. I mean, one of the fun things about being in this type of role is that you get to kind of imagine things from the perspective of a lot of different animals. So we've worked on things from Japanese giant salamanders to giraffes and gorillas to Wyoming toads, anything you can think of. But if I had to pick one, I would probably think about our penguin research because it's been so comprehensive and long-lasting. We've been collecting data on the zoo's penguins since early 2015. And so we have a really nice longitudinal record of the behavior of the penguins living in different habitats. We have a lot of information on how they use their space, particularly time that they spend in the pool. And we even did a small project where we had the penguins wear time depth recorders that would actually monitor their swimming behavior. We've been collecting feathers from the penguins every time they molt. Feathers kind of fly off them, and we pick them up and we analyze them in our own Einstein lab to understand adrenal activity in the penguins during their molt season, which is a physically challenging time for penguins because they replace all their feathers at once over a period of 2 to 3 weeks. And so I think we've really been able to dig into that animal welfare definition and look at things from different measures, the behavior and the physiology, to understand how to make sure that the penguins here are doing great. So the best place to start would be on our CZAAWE website, so that's CZAAWE.org. And you can also find it through the zoo's website, of course. Just click on the link for the Center for Zoo and Aquarium Animal Welfare and Ethics. And on our website, you'll find descriptions of the projects that we're doing, the research side of things. You'll find our resource center, which is a great place if you're interested in learning more about animal welfare in general. There's a lot of resources there. And we even have videos that were taken during our symposia from previous years, where you can actually watch lectures and talks from people who are really leaders in this field, freely available to the public. So there's a lot of different answers to this question. So I think one of them would be to really think critically about where you spend your time and what organizations you support. So, you know, we want to encourage people to look for zoos that are accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, because it means that they have a really high standard of animal care and that they are focused on animal welfare. So, you know, if you're on vacation and you're visiting places that are encouraging you to do things like pet cubs or hold baby animals, those kinds of things are typically a red flag for welfare. And we want to discourage people from doing that, because those animals don't tend to have the best lives when they're kept for photo ops or those kinds of activities. And so thinking critically about the organizations that you support with your money and you know, patronizing those that put animal welfare first is really important. You know, and then even at the home level, you know, you can do some research about environmental enrichment, and, you know, maybe you can think of some new activities for your dog or cat or your other little friends at home that could enrich their lives and improve their welfare. You can kind of follow the same principles that we use here to enrich the lives of the animals at the zoo and make life happier for your little friends at home.